used to own 17 properties. People ask me what I do. They think I sell homes. They think I invest in notes. They think I run a fund. They see the result. They rarely see the decade. Before the notes, before the investors, before the podcasts, there was just a kid trying to figure out how the world worked. But the numbers were never the story. Everything changed when I realized wealth moves through relationships, not transactions, relationships. No trust fund. No roadmap. No institutional capital. Just a belief there had to be a better way. People see 400 transactions. They don't see the transactions that never happened. One family gets housing. One investor gets income. One seller gets a solution. And the cycle continues. People ask what I do. I help people buy homes. I help investors buy payments. We figured out how to buy back time. If you want to learn how to invest in time, visit silvercrestopportunityfund.com. The clock is already running. Look closely.
Welcome back to the Mobile Mailbox Money channel. I'm Alden Guajardo here with Silvercrest Opportunity Fund, Mobile Mailbox Money, and Win Mobile Homes. Welcome back to the Family Bank. We're here every week at 1 o'clock Arizona time with multiple transactions, different opportunities for investors, and we bring on special guests. That's why I have actual Mike DelPrete here in the house today. Mike, maybe if you could just quickly introduce yourself for the viewers that don't know you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, Alden. Mike DelPrete, Executive Director of the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association, a trade association here in Arizona. We've been representing real estate investors of all kinds of lenders to fix and flippers to landlords for the last 23 years. Also candidate for Phoenix City Council. So thank you for having me.
It's important to be connected. You know, Silvercrest is a main sponsor of AZREIA, so happy to have him on the meeting today. I've got my cohorts as well, Sean and Sonny. Sean, maybe if you could just introduce yourself for the viewers that don't know you.
Yes, absolutely, everyone. Hey, my name is Sean Gibson here with Mobile Mailbox Money. My specialty with the company, one of them is I help our investors purchase notes. Also, I could call myself a jack of all trades. I bought notes from our company, which is a fantastic opportunity. I also help Win Mobile Homes with anything they possibly need, acquisition, sales. So I'm always here day or night.
Absolutely. Sean's helped us recently acquire a few new opportunities. You know, we've bought probably 5 manufactured homes over the past couple of weeks. So, you know, well-rounded, meeting today with the different specialties and tricks and twists that each individual brings to the table. We also have Sonny Finkel here today. Sonny, maybe if you could just introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Sonny Finkel, and I am the investor relations specialist for Win Mobile Homes. For Mobile Mailbox Money and Silvercrest Opportunity Fund. I'm the loan compliance coordinator for Win Mobile Homes. Stumbling on my words a little bit today, unfortunately. I help the agents usher their deals to the closing table and generate new notes for our investors to purchase. And I'll be operating the chat today. If you have any comments you'd like to make or questions you have, please feel free to list those in the chat and I will read them aloud and get you an answer to your question. And if you'd like to send it as a private message, that's fine as well.
You know, that's one of the benefits of joining the meetings. You get to ask questions from seasoned professionals out in the industry. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can go back and view the previous masterminds, you know, just unfiltered value that we're providing out in the market and the want for trust and transparency. Why? Because people do business with the people they know, like, and trust. And that's why we're even here today. So I brought Mike on from AZREIA. You know, he came today with a special presentation for y'all. We'll get to some deal flow, a couple different types of transactions, some updates on our pad splits, as well as the meetup we have coming co-branded with AZREIA at Magnum's July 30th. Here this month at 6 o'clock. So pre-register for that on the AZREIA website. If you're in town, we'd love to meet you. It is at a cigar lounge. The Stickman Cigar Club will probably be in attendance. So, you know, just business professionals out rubbing shoulders and building relationships. So, Mike, appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Alden, as always, and appreciate everything Silvercrest does for AZREIA.
Boom, big time. You know, it's all about, you know, doing business at the end of the day and having a friend in the industry and people on the cusp of running for city council and hopefully, you know, fulfilling that. That's all great stuff.
Sure. So what's next? You tell me.
So why don't you go ahead and give the presentation if you like, and we can kind of do some follow-up questions after that.
Perfect. So let me share my screen here. So I had the opportunity to present this to the Arizona Private Lenders Association about a month or so ago. So it is like a 45-minute presentation ultimately. So I have to bake this down to 15 minutes. So I'll be talking faster, going over less in-depth thought, but I'm open to, you know, questions, comments, whatever you may have during, very flexible and easygoing. So running AZREIA, the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association, you know, I've seen hundreds of operators, lenders every month over, you know, since, you know, I've been a member for 16 years, but more importantly, like over the last 2 years, I just noticed something. And, you know, people are more hesitant, right? You know, when it comes to getting in these deals, not because they don't believe in Phoenix, it's just numbers are penciling less. So projects that used to take 9 months now take 18 months. So the question I keep hearing is what's going on? You know, what's going on with the city? What's going on in real estate, right? So I'm sure, you know, if you're underwriting deals as a landlord, I'm sure you're seeing less things pencil out. So why is it? You know, so this is going to be some real estate and some city talk. So what's really happening here in Phoenix? So first off, as I mentioned, I'm Michael DelPrete, Executive Director of the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association. My son Diego just graduated high school in that picture. My wife Dominique, she also runs AZREIA. With me, it's a family business, and we are a real estate family. So we do a little bit of everything from flipping, landlording, Airbnb, run the association. My wife's an agent. So it's just in our lives, and as well as I mentioned, running for Phoenix City Council candidate, which is in District 6. So I'll be on the ballot this November 3rd. So if you live in Biltmore, North Central Phoenix, Arcadia, or Ahwatukee, I would appreciate any type of support. And you can check out my website at DelPrete4PHX.com. All right, let's see. All right, so how a 2-week repair became a 1-year problem. So this is and I'm just going to share a personal situation, which I want you to think about. So I have a triplex. I had a 1-bedroom unit. Let's see, we had a tenant move out who came in to do the turn, smelled a little bit of gas, wasn't sure, called Southwest Gas. They came in, did their test. They got that little suction cup stick. They found the gas problem in a wall. And they're like, hey, it's a small leak. Just need to switch out the line. Then we'll come back and we'll turn, you know, after you get the line fixed from a licensed plumber and so on, we'll do our last test and we'll turn your gas back on. So it's a 2-week problem, $2,000, right? So my wife and I, we head down to the city to see if we can get that permit. So one, we sit down with the clerk and they go, hey, did you know you have a red star on your property? Great. What's a red star? Did I win something? Don't know what that means. So, and I've also learned that architects, civil engineers, a lot of people don't know what the red star means. So basically the person that owned the triplex before me did the lot split incorrectly because he did the split with Maricopa County because he did it so long ago that Phoenix wasn't doing their lot splits at the time. That's how long ago this was. So therefore I have to come back and bring everything up to code. So when I saw that screen, there's hundreds and hundreds of properties with red stars on their properties that they have no clue. So what that means is you got to do the lot split correctly. But what it also means is that you have to update the infrastructure of the property. So at the end of the day, at over $50,000 in costs, they wanted me to build a brand new city sidewalk, new city sewer caps, electrical easements, right? And I was talking to him, I was like, hey, what's wrong with my property? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with inside the unit, nothing. So at the end of the day, I got to go through this new process where I got to hire the engineer, architects, GC, 50 grand plus, and go through this whole permitting process before I can even get that gas line process or gas permit. Ask them, hey, can I get somebody in here? In the meantime, rent it out, fix the gas leak, and go through this process? No, that's not an option. So I say all that just to say I'm going on a year and we still don't got this resolved. Those 3 items that cost $50,000, I had to hire a consultant. This might be a referral for everybody. He's a retired planner. He worked for the city for 28 years. I gave him $400 and in 2 hours, he had 2 to 3 items removed. But why couldn't I talk to the clerk about that? Why couldn't they do that for the citizen paying taxes, right? No, I got to hire someone that knows the game, right? So that's a problem within itself. So then got those removed. Thank you. No more sidewalk, right? No more electrical easements or whatever it was. So that was very helpful. Now, and it took so long to go through all this, I had to extend my permit, right? Or get an extension for my permit. I filed that submission 3 weeks ago. No response, no call, no nothing. Set an appointment to go down there last week. They lost my submission, right? So now it's like, oh, I lost your submission. Well, here it is. Gave it to them on the spot. Okay, we'll call you on Monday. No, let's do it now. It's 3 o'clock on Friday. Let's figure it out. I hear a voice in the background. No manager's gonna approve anything at 3 o'clock on a Friday. You know what I'm saying? It's like where am I? I thought we were in the 5th largest city in the country that would be running efficiently. But so here we are Monday, this past Monday, no response, follow-up call, no response. Today's Thursday, another follow-up call, no response. So here we are, right? So me, you, smaller operators, right? My mortgage payment's $2,000. Just in the permit extension process, that's a month of no movement, right? Think about builders and what they're going through. They're going, and I'll dive into that a little. So I kind of want a little vent, but that's what we are all business owners in general, not just real estate, are dealing with this type of interaction with the city. So let's see here. 4 pressures moving in the same direction. So what kind of pressures are on the city in general that we all deal with? Housing affordability. 6 years ago, medium home was $295. It's now $450. It costs medium income needed is $113,000, where it used to be $84,000 to afford a home at $450,000. Supply gap. We had 900,000 new residents move to Arizona over the last 15 years. We've built half the amount of houses that we normally do within a decade. Okay, so we're underbuilt and for our housing. Tenant stress. It's actually closer to 40%, 30 to 40% of someone's income just goes towards their housing. All right. And another big problem I've noticed is last year the city did build, their goal is to build 50,000 new units by 2030, and they broke that record and they beat it in advance last year. Great job. So we did the research. Less than 22% of the units built were workforce housing or affordable housing. There are luxury apartments. You guys see a lot of luxury apartments just floating around. Well, if you talk to property managers and these bigger commercial guys, they know a lot of these are vacant, right? So there's more to come. There are hundreds and hundreds of more down the pipeline. And the other second biggest permit in approved building is build to rent homes. So what's happening there, right? So the American dream is disappearing, right? My kids, your kids, just people in general, our age that want to buy a house. I think the average first-time home buyer is now 40. It used to be like 28. So I truly feel that Phoenix has a big part to play in this, and they could truly help. They're basically building the wrong type of housing in our city right now. Okay, so Phoenix is still betting a long-term on Phoenix, right? Just the growth, just like our rentals, right? Population growth, job growth. That's number one. We have it here. It's happening here in Arizona. It's going southeast and it's going west, and it's pretty cool to see, right? However, is our infrastructure keeping up with that growth? That's the problem we're starting to see. So breakdown. So systems designed for one pace of growth get overwhelmed. So permitting friction is something that we're seeing. So I feel that the city's putting Band-Aids on a lot of the problems, right? Versus finding the root cause as to let's truly fix these. I understand they're just being reactive, right? So when you put a Band-Aid on it, I get it, but we still got to get to the root cause. Going kind of back into my story, permitting friction, 23 days is the average delay on permitting. So a project 6 months now takes 18 months. Your capital's tied up, right? So investors lending the money. I know when I presented this to private lenders, they want their money to move, right? They want to get in a project. They want to get their fees or whatever it may be, lend the money, get some interest. Great. They'd rather keep moving it versus getting an extra month or 2 months of interest. But to me, like I mentioned, or a builder, when it goes from 9 months to 18 months, if your holding costs are 10 grand, where does all that money go? Right? It's get passed down to the buyer of the property or the tenant that's going to be renting the property. So the builder's not taking this on, but it ultimately goes on to our residents. Neighborhood instability, staffing's down, response times have doubled, homelessness is growing, maintenance is deferred. Look at our potholes. Potholes is one of the number one calls in the city. I don't know how Alden, how long you guys, Sean, you guys been here, anyone on the call? When I moved here in '97, it used to be like an ice rink, man. It was just like so smooth, all the roads, right? You could see, I was just driving on the 51 yesterday. I'm just like, that's new to Phoenix. I don't know if you're new here, this is new to us, having like unpaved roads and potholes and stuff. So capital hesitation. So when the fundamentals aren't right, people are a little tighter on lending the money. Timelines are unpredictable for us investors. Smart capital waits, projects stop penciling, the cycle reinforces itself. Everyday cost families. So kind of touched on the cost a little bit on what happens when permits take longer. Impact fees and infrastructure. Phoenix doubled impact fees last year. So what are impact fees? So impact fees are growth paying for growth. Basically, they're saying, hey, builder, you were building this new house. Well, you do have to pay for the sewer lines and electrical and all that. And I'm not opposed to that, right? So especially when you're building 100-unit complexes and these new communities, I get that. But to our world, my AZREIA world, our community, when we're doing an infill a lot, right, or building 2 homes or fix and flipping a house, these fees can be extensive. The average impact fee on a general median house right now, it just depends on neighborhood, is $30,000, right? Plus that extra 9 months and the cost to build averages out to another $30,000. So this is just one little concept. That's $60,000 added onto one property being built. Okay. Now, we all know our amortization schedule and our interest rates. So every $10,000 is about $100 on your mortgage payment. So that's $600 that ultimately the city can affect for the average home buyer. $600 on your mortgage payment, you can afford a lot more, right? So these are little things that I would like to focus on when I'm in council. So my solution to this, and I'm not here to say the city's bad. I love everything about the city. Like I said, we have some infrastructure things that we could focus on. So my solution is more predictability. So if there's more predictability in when you're building a house or flipping a house, how long it will take. You know the process and how to deal with the city, and you can predict the timelines. That would make you more confident investing your money into these projects. Kind of went over this a little bit as I've been talking. It's hit the head. Solving today's crisis instead of building tomorrow. Some of the things that we're dealing with when I said police staffing, we're actually up to 600 police officers positions not filled. So we're allowed to have 3,100 sworn police officers, and we're only at 2,500 give or take. And they haven't increased that 3,100 in 10 years. And we've grown rapidly. So that 3,100 should actually probably be closer to like 4,000. So technically we're 600 police officers short. Emergency response time, national average 5 minutes. Anywhere in the valley, 7 to 11 minutes. Don't know about you, but with someone in my family or friend, we're in an emergency situation, every second counts. Homelessness has increased rapidly every single year. We spent $180 million since 2021, and it continues to get worse. 600 people died on the streets last year in Phoenix. When the city goes into triage mode, it solves today's crisis instead of building for tomorrow. Police can't keep up with the pace. Response times are slipping. That means neighborhoods are suffering, right? And if the neighborhoods are suffering and the residents aren't thriving, what's that do to our neighborhoods? What does that do to us as property owners and property investors, right? It makes it more risky for us to invest in these neighborhoods. That's why you see all the money in Scottsdale, or they'll flip in Gilbert or build in Gilbert or Scottsdale. They don't want to do an infill lot in Maryville, because it's really hard to do and there's no money to be made. So we need more incentives, and we need to work with these smaller builders. They want to build. They want to build starter homes. They want to build these. I talk to developers all the time, but it just doesn't make sense for them to do it as a business, unfortunately. As I mentioned, 900,000 residents in the last 15 years. And with us not building enough and keeping up on our infrastructure, we're going to start feeling those problems more and more as we go into the future. Core levers of our operating system: predictability. We need clear timelines for our business owners, consistent processes, capital plan so we can plan accordingly and confidently. We need transparency, public infrastructure plans, known requirements, no mid-project surprises, which I know things happen, but it's just getting more overwhelming. Speed, we want to move smarter processes. We want to move faster, and more accountability to these departments and these teams in the city to hold them accountable for losing my extension. No one knows how that happened or where it happened. So that's just one little thing. So we need more accountability on these department heads to run their departments more efficiently. This one here, nope, that was a joke. So I've operated here in Phoenix for 20 years as a business owner. I've paid the price of execution failure. The city council makes execution decisions, permitting timelines, infrastructure, transparency, and city accountability. They control a lot of the stuff that would allow our city to run smoother. I just want to go in there. I don't want to be a politician that's I know you got to go speeches and do these presentations. I just want to get to work, man. I want to run the city like a business, right? As a business owner, I don't have the luxury of running in the red. The city's been inefficient with the budget, right? When there is a problem, we raised taxes last year. We raised trash, we raised water, and we raised property taxes. That's how they fixed the budget last year. Okay, we need ideas, not even new ideas. We need traditional ideas that worked before and bringing them back and execute them. So Phoenix isn't broken. the execution and the fundamentals are, it can be fixed. It just can't let it go too much longer. I sat with a gentleman, one of the larger developers in the state. He goes, if we don't start making changes in City Hall now, in the next 5 years, we will be Seattle. So I would say we currently already paved what's been going on over the last few years. The groundwork has been paved for that. But we still have time to go in there and fix it. And I think you need a business mindset in City Hall, which there are not any right now. So we are one of the best cities. In 1997, we were the best run city, 95 best run city in the world. And we haven't received that award in 30 years. So I would love to be a part of that, bringing that sign back to the city of Phoenix. So AZREIA, first and foremost, if you're interested in real estate investing, AZREIA.org. Check out our website, check out our calendar. I would love to have you a part of the community. Also, for my upcoming race on November 3rd, I'll be on the ballot. You can go to DelPrete or Phoenix, and you can contribute, volunteer, tell a friend, tell a family member. I would appreciate it. You scan the QR code, and I thank you for your time. I know those kind of jammed in there, but hopefully you got some points across.
Yeah, no, it just goes to show the need now more than ever, to kind of get up off the couch and start providing solutions and getting down to it, to be here today with Mike and grow mutually, it is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I commend you, Mike, for, fighting on behalf of the investor, for real estate, as well as, getting on the forefront and down and dirty in order to see a better future here for the Arizona natives. I moved over here in 2009. So we've been here for a while, and I love everything about Arizona. We're a top 5 state, but it just goes to show from the metrics the need for alternatives, not only in getting to solutions, but also for housing. You mentioned 5 different ways, the fact that major builders are really just going to luxury development, and the need for affordability is not being cured. We're in a state of emergency right now. So, I appreciate you giving that presentation. If you're in the Phoenix area, you know who to vote for at the end of today. But we'll pivot into our transactions, providing a solution in affordable housing via buying, rehabbing, and reselling manufactured housing, seller finance. Why are we even on the meeting today? We're here with potential transactions coming down the pipeline for investors that want to participate in a alternative solution. It's a new day and age for housing at the end of the day, and manufactured homes are here to stay here in the Valley, where I think 10% of housing is mobile homes here in the Valley, and not many people are providing a turnkey home packaged with financing to provide a solution to the problem. And that's where we come in. That's where a private lender comes in. That's where the banks have walked away from transactions like this, and an abundance of inventory here in the Valley for us to cultivate and provide you a passive investment strategy via notes in conjunction with manufactured housing. So as we buy, rehab, and resell these homes, we bring these notes, seller finance, that are pending and some in escrow to you today. So this is lot 195 in the East Mesa market. This buyer borrower is going through the formal processes in order to purchase this transaction. Let me just pull up my notes here real quick. So this is a 4-bed, 2-bath. I believe she is inheriting some money for the down payment, but can potentially afford the monthly payment pending due diligence for us as we bring this turnkey 4-bed, 2-bath to the table. if it doesn't end up going through, we'll find a new buyer, but it's good to kind of talk about the processes as well as what a cash flow could look like on a property just like this in the East Mesa market, where you purchase the transaction and be afforded a first lien position and a monthly payment rivaling over $15,000 a year. So at 125, this buyer borrower had under contract with a $10,000 down payment proposed, going through 2 rounds of underwriting, and a $115,000 unpaid balance with tile showers, tile vanities, new laminate flooring, new roof on this transaction. They've got an actual double vanity and a full tile shower in this home. We gutted this home. We went down to the electrical, plumbing, the roof, went full Monty on this transaction. $115,000, in other words, for an acquisition cost, paying a monthly payment of $1,430 for a 20-year term. That's off Ellsworth and Broadway. If you were to put that same capital, $115,000, and bought a rental somewhere around in the nation, maybe for cash, or maybe you borrowed a little bit of money, where can you get a cash flow with no banks, paying over $15,000 a year in a solution to the problem? So that's a packaged asset that we have for sale right now. We do have a person actually under contract, but it's not sold until it's sold. They've fallen out of their contract requirements to fulfill the transaction, but they've still expressed interest in purchasing the home. So as we usher that forward, we'll keep you guys updated. Lot 12 in Casa de Francisco in the Phoenix market. This home I actually acquired on a vlog of mine. I've walked through the home and ultimately acquired the asset. We did new flooring, new cabinets, granite in the kitchen. That's the previous flooring, painted inside and out. We can get you the full collateral file upon request. The messenger is open, so if you have interest in maybe seeing what a full collateral file looks like, just put your email in the chat and the lot number. This is lot 12, and we've since refinished the tubs, refinished the showers, painted inside and out. We can get you the turnkey photos. I think, Sonny, you're handling this transaction. Oh, you're on mute now. There you go.
There we go. $135,000 sale price with $10,000 down and $125,000 balance for the note, and the payment is $1,554.40.
This is a 1,500 square foot double wide manufactured home in a institutionally owned mobile home park in the South Mountain area. South Mountain actually is one of our highest requested areas given the affordability in that market. Heavy Hispanic market. We do take ITIN numbers. This is actually, is this the right house? Oh no, they sent the wrong home. Anyway, long story short, we can get you the updated photos for that transaction. South Mountain, we've done I think 5 to 10 transactions. We've entered into the market 6 months ago, and this is another home that we've acquired in the same market. But lot 12 is, I believe, closing tomorrow, Sonny?
Not till next week.
So that's immediately.
It is a 2007 Fleetwood, and a 4-2 in an all-age community is very highly sought after in our market. If on the rare occasion that we would have a default, this would very easily refund and regenerate income immediately, because this is something we don't hold on to for very long. A 4-2 in an all-age community is really highly sought after.
So this is for sure closing. I'm 95% sure. So we will do one of a few things, right? As we get new photos, We will put it out for someone to either buy this entire note for $115,000, paying $1,554 a month for a 20-year term. They buy the whole note. They put out of our portfolio and they put it in theirs, where they buy it with their IRA, solo 401k, or really just personal investment, and they own that transaction. They have the bells and whistles if it does end up potentially going to default of a at cost structure where we'll resell the property, help you resell or finance it at that once bought in its entirety. That same note for $115,000 is a potential hypothecation. Hypothecation means to pledge an asset in order to garnish capital investment. You could be non-accredited, you could be accredited, one note, one investor. And I pledged this transaction at $115,000 turnkey with a buyer borrower in place closing next week in exchange. $125,000, my apologies. So at 125, the full unpaid balance with a performing borrower in place for a
$1,554.40.
With a 1-year term hypothecated, where we arbitrage that and guarantee it, right? So opposed to having a 20-year note, we give you a 1-year term pledged via hypothecation for a monthly payment of $1,041.66, right? You get 19 years of liquidity. You get still a first lien collateral, right? In a performing home that's been bought, rehabbed, and seller financed. Either bought it whole, we hypothecated it, or if accredited, you could invest in the fund at a 10% interest only paid monthly for a 1-year term payment, or a 12% for a 3-year term paid quarterly Reg D 506C with Silvercrest Opportunity Fund. And we absorb this note. You become a per unit owner share in Silvercrest, and we participate together. The fund guarantees the payment, and we're off to the races. Those are 3-4 different potential options for someone wanting to take down a transaction, given the crisis, given the return on investment projected, as well as the first lien senior collateral in a performing asset with no maintenance, management, insurance, or taxes. Right? That's lot 12 in Casa de Francisco. I bought this home, the same community, actually on another vlog. So I've been trying to go through from acquisition to maybe middle of the rehab. And as we sell the home, I talk about it on our YouTube, Mobile Mailbox Money. So you can kind of follow as we progress with these transactions from front to back. So this transaction, we've recently updated the price point. I think we have an already potential contract for a buyer at $85,000. We have since removed the cabinetry and are installing laminate and new cabinets, granite, as a 3-bed, 2-bath. We'll refinish and ultimately put in new flooring in the bathrooms. Likely refinish the cabinets and the bathroom vanities, as well as check the electrical, plumbing, and the roof. This transaction, I think I paid $20,000 for it. I overpaid a little bit because I know the area, I know the market, I know it's a hot transaction, and I know so much so because there's actually someone contracted already to buy this home. I believe they're an approved buyer by the park. They have earnest money down. They're just waiting for the rehab actually to be conducted. This is lot 38 in Casa de Francisco at a sale price projected of $85,000 with a $5,000 down payment, an unpaid balance of $80,000 for a 20-year term, and a monthly payment of $994.82, right? So close to $1,000 a month for an $80,000 acquisition with no banks involved, and you get senior lien position on a performing asset that we've bought, rehabbed, and seller finance. That's a 98 Cavco, 3-bed, 2-bath, and in a community. I think we've done 5 homes in that park. I'm buying 2 more across the street in La Montaña del Sur. How do we find these transactions? We get pref because we're a licensed and bonded dealer in manufactured housing. We're now institutionally recognized by multiple billion-dollar businesses like Callan Properties, Kingsley Management. ELS is kind of not fond of us for whatever reason. That's okay. They still recognize that we're doing a tremendous amount of transactions and doing it right at the end of the day. Does anybody have any questions by chance? I'm just going to lightly pump the brakes. We appreciate your interaction today. Couple hearts, couple thumbs up going. We do this for you. A question answered here today could potentially cost you $5,000 with a attorney. I'm not an attorney, but we do know ins and outs of our transactions. It is important to consult legal at the end of the day, but all things considered, we're happy to point you in the right direction. We do have 4-5 different attorneys. So if an individual wanted a referral, for some questions or actually to, get some boots on the ground, it's all happy to provide those to you guys. So let's just continue the meeting here. From agents to attorneys to contractors to community referrals to movers, all the above. That's the benefit of being local here in Arizona. So we talked about lot 12. We talked about lot 38. Here's actually the vlog. I actually brought it up. This was me acquiring this home. I won't play the whole thing, but I walked through, talked to the homeowner, check out the cabinetry. I would have loved to try and save those, but ended up having to take them out. They're pretty beat, so kind of cool to see on the YouTube vlog 157. So that's actually up there live now. Lot 218 in Bel Air Manor. This buyer actually went dark for like 2 weeks and has now come back to the table. I believe I sent this out to Sonny and Sean earlier. I think Sean potentially had somebody that was interested. So let's talk about it. Lot 218 in Bel Air Manor is a 3-bed, 1-bath. It is a year 2012 manufactured home in a family park, corner lot, 3-bed, 1-bath. The buyer borrower has a contract price of $65,000 and a down payment potential of $5,000. They do have another $2,000 in prepaid taxes and insurance, so $7,000 they're taking out of pocket. They're not quite qualified for real estate, but they're more than qualified as a higher level renter and someone to buy a transaction just like this. With average purchase prices of $400,000, where does the average income earning Arizonan go for ownership with rental rates at such a high rate, interest rates providing pressure on the environment? It's hard to even save a dollar, where they can buy this, build qualified equity, and we provide that financing. Lot 218, $60,000 unpaid balance. $746.11 for a 20-year payment. If you don't have a mortgage calculator, do yourself a service. I always say it. Download that. It can teach you how to reverse engineer, reverse calculate what a yield would be on a transaction just like this. From us, in comparison around the nation, to find a qualified, cash flowing, and consummated transaction at an affordable acquisition cost, $60,000, right, in a rehabbed home in a good area, move to market at $60,000, making $746 a month, to me is unreplicatable, really, given the market, the desirability, as well as the return on investment yielded on really just $60,000. Historically, you could try and go buy a Midwest single family home, and throw it up for rent at 60, 80, 90,000. Those days are gone, where now this provides a contractually agreed upon income, no hardships in rentals, long-term rental strategies, like dealing with a tenant at 1 a.m. that clogged the toilet. Purely a solution given here today. Lot 218 in Bel Air Manor. Let's continue down the road here, where we'll fall into another transaction, right? A non-seller finance note, but a potential for you to get to the front of the line of a note that may come available via construction lending. You apply credit via investment on a first lien transaction. As we stabilize this asset, you get a first right of refusal of the note that will inadvertently come available. This is a 5-bed, 2-bath in the Tempe market. In Tempe Cascade, we've done a number of transactions, family community, to find 4, 5, 3-bedroom family mobile homes that are turnkey are roughly really non-existent for, in most cases, depending on the area. Very scarce opportunities for someone to get a larger family mobile home in a quality park at the end of the day. So that's where we are acquiring that niche in order to push out because of the demand, as we seek a $100,000 first lien lender at 75% loan to value after rehab value on our 5-bedroom home. We will, in exchange, give you a first lien for a 1-year term, interest only, at $833.33 a month, $833.33 a month. So instead of waiting for a potential note to come available, you get to the first of the line, you invest really and start earning interest in the next 30 days with, say, $100,000 on this transaction, first lien, only lien, and start accruing interest or making a monthly payment in a 30-day program, opposed to waiting for a note that may come available. It may not. It gets you interest bearing sooner than later and helps us do another transaction. Every transaction that we do in the Arizona market is literally another family facilitating home ownership, right, via your investment. That's at $100,000. This is lot 265, $833.33 a month for a 1-year term. When we buy and sell this house, right, in the next 6 months, likely it will go, and you will get the opportunity to come up from the unpaid balance to the unpaid balance of the seller finance loan, less their down payment, right? So say this property goes for $125,000, they put $10K down. At $115,000, you would cure the $15,000 difference, right, and absorb that seller finance loan into your portfolio and start earning really today at the end of the day. That opportunity is a different transaction, obviously, than a full seller finance notes. More short term, could mature likely in the next 6 months, and you churn your money, right? Not everyone wants to be in a stabilized asset. A private lender wants to churn that transaction and keep touching it maybe 2 times throughout the year, opposed to just getting one update, with facilitated monthly payments. Different transaction, different investor, at the end of the day. So just wanted to break that down as we continue here. Lot 263 is actually a turnkey construction credit availability at $60,000. It's a 2-bed, 2-bath in a 55 and older community. We own this home. It is for sale. You could potentially get in with $50,000. At $50,000, see if I get this right here. $50,000 and first lien, only lien on the property is $416.67 a month. So over $5,000 a year. You participate in a stabilized asset as we seller finance the home, right? So opposed to going to buy a home and try and seller finance it, or buy and rehab a home and try and sell it, or seller finance it yourself, you can participate immediately in a construction loan at $50,000 and see the ins and outs of the transaction. Everyone kind of wants to participate in different fashions. Some people are more curious in the beginning and more reserved, wanting to see the ins and outs opposed to just buying a note. It's a great opportunity for someone that may be here today. At $50,000, I believe it's listed at $59,999, and that buyer borrower's total monthly payment, once they buy this home, the buyer borrower, not the investor, their total monthly payment, including the lot rent, with a $5,000 down payment, is $683.92 a month. So you went from $416 to $683 in monthly cash flow with an acquisition of a home just like this. And we've since cleaned it out. We can get you turnkey photos. Probably need to go do that here today to update the website here. But tile shower, walk-in, new plumbing and fixtures. We did a rehab on this property a few years ago. Central AC unit in a institutionally owned mobile home park. That's at $50,000, lot 263. This is where we talk about Silvercrest. Silvercrest Opportunity Fund has about 30 different positions currently working in the fund. And I could sell a seasoned note to a non-accredited investor. An accredited investor could participate in notes like homes just like this, lot 69 in Chaparral Village, at one of 30 transactions. And the stability of those positions provide monthly payment to the accredited investors that participate in the fund. I think right now we're yielding about $25,000 to $30,000 a month. I'd have to look at the most recent update because we've recently acquired more positions, brought in more capital. At the end of this month, I've got another investor actually from AZREIA, shout out to Mike, that will be investing with us, I think $50,000, and she chose to take a monthly distribution to see if it works or not. It's real easy to tell if something works or not after the transaction if you're receiving a payment. So this is lot 69. This property is actually yielding me on $102,000 unpaid balance, a monthly payment of $1,274. I'm making $13,000 a year in cash flow. Imagine what 10, 20, 50 of these notes could do literally for your financial freedom. It's literally life-changing right now. So if I could stack another 50, 100 of these in the fund with our bells and whistles, that would be the objective. Remember, we're not just the lender, right? We're institutionally recognized for manufactured housing, institutionally recognized as a Reg D 506C accredited investor fund, have footprints in Business Network International, the largest chapter on the West Coast. One of them, I think we're top 5. I did like $3 million last year in closed business with BNI. And AZREIA, I think we've raised like $5 million being a sponsor and helping Mike grow Arizona Real Estate Investors Association. The proof's in the pudding. With a performing asset, a monthly payment, it's tough to beat that at a double-digit interest rate. This is lot 41 in the fund. Right, I think we talked about this last week. This is an unpaid balance in a performing borrower at $95,000. We did cut this property down from the studs, actually. We turned a 2-1 to a 4-2, I think it is. I'd have to triple check that. But at $95,000, making a monthly payment of $1,053.43 for a 20-year term as a performing note. If someone was trying to buy a performing transaction, that comes with a transaction fee. I'm sorry to tell you, but a performing note provides proof, right? It provides proof of stability given the payments being made. A transaction, newly originated is a little bit less of proof at the end of the day. Yes, they did get verified. They went double underwriting, but a payment is a payment at the end of the day. So this transaction is available at 97,000, with 97,000 paying 1,053.43 a month, and maybe you buy it out of the fund if you like. That participation would be owning an asset out of a fund. You would not participate in the fund. You would buy it out of my portfolio and own it within yours, right? So and any investor can buy a note. We're not going to just sell a note to anybody, but a non-accredited investor can buy a note transaction and even put it in their IRA. We talked to Nate last week about the self-direction of IRA funds or transfers of solo 401ks to participate in tax-deferred or tax-free investment strategy in notes just like this. That's lot 41 at 97,000, paying 1,053.43 a month. Lot 20, we talked about this last week as well. Again, these are more transactions that we have in the cut, in the fund, performing 30 homes, and we've documented almost every process on Mobile Mailbox Money, the YouTube page, on the vlog. So feel free to go and check that out. Serena's actually our executive sales agent. We sold this home for $120,000. Lot 20 at an unpaid balance of $109,000. So my fund, Silvercrest Opportunity Fund, bought this note for $109,000, and I'm currently making $1,361 a month, right? With no fluctuations. That monthly payment comes. It's an amortized loan, so I get an element of capital preservation. And that's one of like $2.5 million that we have working currently. Lot 64 in Winter Cove. This is now a performing note in Silvercrest in the Mesa market. This was a 2-2, if I remember correctly. I don't have it in my notes. We could verify that. But in the Mesa market as a family mobile home. Sorry, my scroll just screwed up here. At $54,000. A little bit more affordable than the traditional average unpaid balance. You know, average is about 80 now, given the market and our availability in family parks. But turnkey property that we sold for $59,500. They put a $5,000 down payment and an unpaid balance of $54,000 and change, $54K. Monthly payment of $682.69 for a 20-year term. I bought this house, I think, for like $5,000. We put probably $30,000 into it, and we exited at $59,500 via seller finance. We made $25,000 on the exit, and now are in a perpetual cash flow. How do I say perpetual cash flow? Because I'm still in the deal, making the spread, arbitraging interest, right? And that's made possible because I started a fund, but also if someone were not having the the gumption yet to pay the $20,000 to $50,000 to actually start a fund, that's an availability to do a transaction via hypothecation. I mentioned it before as someone maybe investing via hypothecation, but you can use that same document, which multiple people on here have already done so, to go and raise capital on a transaction that you know about, that hits Dodd-Frank compliance, hits an underwriting criteria, and is a consummated, qualified, and cash flowing note, and provide you the opportunity to arbitrage an interest rate. That's a fancy way of saying making more interest than what you borrow at, right? And it's tough to find a performing asset out in the market to be able to plant that money confidently without having to swing a hammer or call 50 contractors or attend AZREIA as much as you can to ultimately get the bells and whistles of hard money and things of that nature to flip your own property. Now you're in an elevated standpoint as a higher intelligent investor, making money on money via hypothecation, calling Uncle Joe with $20 million or whatever it may be, and offering him a potential transaction, an opportunity that's higher yielding than than adjacent real estate investment strategies. And I'm happy to provide a document to you guys like that at any time. You can message that if you want, message hypothecation in the chat with your email address, and we would be happy to send you that document. But that takes the power into your hands to be able to now facilitate infinite returns, staying in a transaction with none of your own money. I started a fund in order to do that, but that's lot 64 in Winter Cove. And let me just reshare my screen here before I forget. So again, I think we made $25,000 on this house. That was probably the previous. Oh no, those are different photos for a different house. But long story short, Mesa Market and performing at 54,000, lot 64, Winter Cove. So this next month is coming back around, not off in July anymore. Coming back in August is the second Monday of every month, the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association meetup. And Nate, again, will actually be talking in depth about investments in your IRA, self-directing your solo 401k, and starting to participate. So that's second Monday of the month. But in addition, I think Pad Split used to be there. I just wanted to share this, actually, some update on our Pad Split. Bear with me here. Our 12-bedroom Pad Split is actually coming to the market. Little bit different of a strategy, but the need for affordability is vast. And as we develop this strategy, we'd like for you to come along with us. So whether we garnish a private loan at 80% loan to value, at a 90% occupancy rate when we have it rented up for $1.12 million, paying $8,000 a month, that's an opportunity. Or we buy this in my fund and hold it perpetually together with accredited investors at 1.4 and a 8%, projected return. We'll get the quoted returns for the offering, but this is a 12-bedroom single family conversion that has two structures that were actually pre-existing on the lot that we turned into additional livable square footage. So we have a 1-bed, 1-bath cottage, a 3-bed, 1-bath built-out garage that's actually fully been contracted by my partner as a 3-1 studio. So it's got a bathroom, full bedrooms, a full kitchen, and washer dryer facilities in the main house. But as a 12-bedroom, I think 5-7-bath, 5-bath. I've had to verify that. But at 90% occupancy on 12 bedrooms at an average rental rate of $900 times 12 is 129. No, that's not right. 12 bedrooms times 900. Plus 900. No, 12 times 9. Is $10,000 a month at 90% occupancy is $9,700 a month times 12. Your total yearly return is $116,640. So in a pad split model, room rentals, right? So each room will actually fetch its own independent rental rate. We qualify with the pad split data provided at a 90% occupancy average for the Arizona market. So, continuing to cultivate the solution to affordable housing, with affordable rentals, affordable ownership in manufactured housing, and a smashing return provided in an alternative investment strategy. Most people don't know that the alternative investment term is now being Googled more than ever. So to be providing an option just like this in a market in adjacence with a Warren Buffett investment strategy is now a new need. It's a new need not only for the investors, it's a new need for the end user, buyer, borrower, and it's a new need for, how you want to feel. It's all fun and games to try and invest in a 2x equity multiple, but in 3 to 5 years, when that timeline keeps getting kicked down the road, it becomes a challenge where we're offering preferred returns given our investment strategy and letting you cherry pick at the opportunities that we bring out of the back office. And all of the transactions that we provide are provided and underwritten and qualified and sold via Win Mobile Homes. Win Mobile Homes is the largest dealer of manufactured housing here in Arizona, and I'm vice president of sales and marketing for Win Mobile Homes, license 8670. Mobile Mailbox Money is the education platform where we sell note transactions, bring back office view of what we do on a regular basis. I've got 2 books on Amazon. Go check those out. They're worth $5-10. You get what you pay for, but it's unfiltered value, at the end of the day. And Silvercrest Opportunity Fund, Reg D 506C, accredited investor fund. I'm looking for $1 million. $50,000 to $1 million that can help you start earning in as little as 30 days. I could use $5 million right now. And so if there were a high net worth investor watching this here now today, call me direct at 480-923-6456. That's 480-923-6456. Call me direct. I've got an immediate opportunity for you in notes just like this, in pad splits, and providing a solution in a time when it's needed most. Don't forget to follow my YouTube, Mobile Mailbox Money, the YouTube page. We got 212 subscribers, over 1,100 videos, and my Facebook. If I could just try and bring that up real quick, just to give you a back view. Now, Facebook is getting 50,000 views a month right now. Let's see if I can do this quickly. So we're at 46,000 views a month. All of this stuff streams live, and we do this all for you. Obviously in providing great value out in the market. If 50,000 people a month are watching and potentially inquiring about investments or inquiring about a home for sale, all the above, that's just proof in the pudding. Appreciate Mike DelPrete being here today. Don't forget to like, comment, follow, and subscribe, or reach out immediately for any of the opportunities that we have. Arizona Real Estate Investors Association and Silvercrest, July 30th at Magnums. If you're in Phoenix, please don't hesitate to come by and say hello. I think there will be like 20, 30 people in the room, maybe even a little bit more. You don't have to smoke cigars. It is a speakeasy environment and just a place to relax with other like-minded individuals and maybe potentially meet us one-on-one. I'm going to put my email in the chat. That's one of the benefits of joining the meetings. My email did change. So been having problems with my emails lately, so we had to make a switch. I think I have like 100,000 emails in my thing, so it's probably overloading the server. But that's with Silvercrest Opportunity Fund, Win Mobile Homes, and Mobile Mailbox Money. That's one step closer to financial freedom. What do we call that? Mobile Mailbox Money. We appreciate y'all viewing today. Unfiltered value that we provide at any given time. We could sell this stuff. I'm really not in it to make a sale. I'm in it to change my life, change your life, and change the next homeowner's life that we help facilitate with our private capital here in the Arizona market. We'll see you next time.
And every single one of them owned me back. I used to own 17 properties, and every single one of them owned me back.
The AC breaks at midnight. The tenant doesn't pay. The contractor ghosts you. The property tax arrives, and the phone never stops. I thought owning property meant owning freedom. What I actually owned was a second job.
There is a version of real estate investing that nobody shows you in the highlight reel, where everything you own owns you back. Then I discovered something, a different position. Not the landlord, not the tenant, the lender. A promissory note, a seller finance mortgage on a manufactured home. I hold the paper, the family makes the payment every month. No toilets, no tenants. 400 transactions, $30 million in notes. Every single one to be a family that needed housing, an investor that needed income. The knock at the door used to be my nightmare. Now the only knock I hear is opportunity. If you want to learn how to hold the paper instead of the property.
See you next time. Inquire today. Got a couple of live viewers left. We appreciate you being here today. We had 29 people on this meeting, so proof's in the pudding. Mobile mailbox money.